Well, good morning, everybody. Welcome to Cancer Support Community Central Ohio's Natural Living Workshop with our community herbalist, Lily Kunning. I'm Darlene. I'm the program manager here at Cancer Support Community Central Ohio. Lily, we greatly appreciate you volunteering your time and coming on and doing these education sessions every month. Lily will have a different topic, and we're very excited to hear what she has to say today about fun in the sun because we are coming up into that time of the year where we'll be using bug spray and um, um, sunscreen. So, Lily, good morning. Welcome.
Good morning, everybody. I hope everybody had a restful holiday yesterday. It was really a beautiful day where I am in north central Ohio, just north of Columbus. But yeah, welcome to the Natural Living series today. Our topic is fun in the sun, which includes bug spray and sunscreen, but also, we're going to be doing some more outdoor living in a way that we don't do in other parts of the year. So, talking about different safe ways to be outdoors when it comes to, outdoor living and safety. So, let me share my screen. There we go. Hopefully everybody can see it. Um, all right. Yeah, today we're going to talk about all kinds of things that you run into being outdoors more in the beautiful warm weather and making more natural, deliberate, intentional choices around what we use during this time of year. So today we're going to be talking about sunscreen, we're going to be talking about bug spray, different kinds of first aid, natural first aid, staying cool, of course, because you don't want to get heat stroke, and just the benefits of being outdoors. I give you all this information not to discourage you from being outside, but to empower you to get outside more because getting outside in and of itself is a health benefit. And I'm still drinking my morning brew, so I will take pauses for that. So let's start with sunscreen because that's the thing that most people think about when they're like, oh, summer's coming and I'm going to need to protect my skin. Yes, absolutely. But there are sunscreens out there that do more harm than good. And I'm talking about the ones that you see everywhere, the ubiquitous ones that are at the drugstore or the grocery store or the big box store. Um, Most of those really try and get you by like up in the SPF and they're like, ooh, SPF 50, SPF 90, whatever it is. I'm here to tell you that that is a marketing lie. And anything that is higher than 30 is using some toxic chemicals that you really don't want to put on your body. And I will say, I don't think I cover it in this natural living series, but when I do body care and cosmetics, I do tell you anything you put on your skin, uh, some of it gets inside of you. And depending on how small the molecular weight of the chemicals that are in the formula, it could go directly into your bloodstream. It could stay in your skin cells or your fat cells. And so, what you put on your body is just as important as what you put in your body. So, the ones with the chemicals, and I've listed them here, like they have these alphabet soup, unpronounceable, blah, 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 blah things that you're going to want to avoid. Okay. And I will make sure that Darlene gets a copy of this handout, the talk along here, because that way you can compare it to anything that you might have in your home. You're going to get a copy of the slide deck. Now, these particular chemicals, first of all, they only block UVA. They do not block UVB. So, what is the point? But also, they contain carcinogens and endocrine disrupting chemicals. And for folks that have a history of cancer, I mean, obviously, you don't want carcinogens. We know this, but endocrine disrupting chemicals also have problems that cause autoimmune dysfunction and cancer. And so we just want to avoid these things, right? They use them because they're cheaper. They can market them as something that's better. But honestly, they are not. You will have to reapply things. So anything that says 100% waterproof, those are weird chemicals that are going to stick to your skin that you don't want either. You're going to want something that's 30 SPF that's based with zinc oxide, not titanium oxide. And you're going to want it to say that it's non-nanoparticle. And I will get into the criteria in the next slide. But you should also know that even natural brands like Neutrogena and Aveeno, things that people think are natural, have had recent recalls because they are not safe products. Um, and I want you to have fun in the sun and choose a sunscreen that actually will block the sun and reduce your risk of sunburn and cancer, but also choosing it so that it doesn't have unintended side effects. So what should you look for? Um, 30 SPF or lower, because that means that it's a natural mineral based sunscreen. And the mineral that you're looking to use is zinc oxide, not titanium oxide. But zinc oxide is a very safe chemical or mineral, rather. And you're going to want the formula to say that it's non-nanoparticle zinc oxide. And that's just a fancy way of saying how big the pieces of zinc oxide are. You want them big enough so that they don't get into your hair follicles or your pores. And that means non-nanoparticle, right? And so that means that it stays on the surface of your skin, because the way mineral sunscreen works is you put it on, it's, a lotion or a cream, and at first it's white. And then you rub it in until it's clear. And what's happening there is the lipids and the liquids are going into your skin and moisturizing you. And the zinc oxide is staying on the surface of your skin and acting like little mirrors. They're your little Wonder Woman bracelets. Pew, pew, pew. Making sure that you're not getting exposed to that sunlight, which is why when you sweat a lot or you go in the water, you're going to need to reapply because your armor has been compromised, right? Um, but that's a natural thing. You don't want something that could stay on your skin regardless of whether you went in the ocean or not, or that, you sweated. You want something all natural. I make one for Haven called Beau Soleil. The link is there if you're interested. But the thing that, besides it being zinc oxide and non nanoparticle, is the fewer the ingredients, the better. My sunscreen, people are amazed. It's 5 ingredients, just 5. That's it. I don't put any fragrance in it because fragrance tends to be like a dumping ground for petrochemicals that you don't necessarily want. I don't even put essential oils in it because honestly, there's no need, and I want it to be safe for babies, and I want it to be safe for people with sensitive skin. And so, just those 5 ingredients, which is a combination of liquids, lipids, zinc oxide, and a mild preservative that will keep it shelf stable for, the season. But zinc oxide also acts as a preservative, so I don't have to put much in, honestly. When you buy a jar, it should last you the whole season. And I want to particularly point out that if you are going to get a formula that contains essential oils, don't get any with citrus essential oils. Um, Most citrus essential oils are steam distilled. However, the cheapest ones that are used by big companies often are extracted by what's the French call équelle piqué, which is this nasty looking machine that has these big spikes and rollers, like rollers with spikes on them, and they dump the citrus fruit in there, and then it gets mushed and smashed. Now, when you peel an orange, right, and you're peeling it, you can often see like the little essential oils fly up into the air and it smells amazing. And you're like, oh, orange, yay. That's what the Akele Pique machines do. They like squish it and the essential oils start to escape and they, trap them. And then because when you mangle a citrus fruit, you're not just going to get the essential oils, you're also going to get fiber and pulp and juice and seeds. Then they centrifuge it, and very big molecules tend to come out in the centrifuge process. And those molecules are the ones we want to avoid. They tend to be phototoxic, which means you put it on your skin and you go out in the sun, and you are 2000% more likely to develop a melanoma. It's just not something that you want to use, especially in the summer, but topically. So I just tell people to avoid anything that they put on their skin that has any citrus essential oils all season long. There are plenty of other fragrances that you can use, natural essential oils, without taking that risk. Because unless you know you bought it, they told you it was steam distilled, you know it's not phototoxic, just avoid it as a category. It's pretty easy to do. So that is what I recommend in terms of looking for sunscreen. Oh, the other thing that I'm probably going to say a lot is plastic is bad. It's very, very bad. And when you buy sunscreen, it often is in a plastic pump bottle. And it's often like this humongous bottle that you couldn't possibly go through in a season anyway. When you buy products encased in plastic, whether that's body care or food, you are contributing to microplastics, not just in the environment, but in your body. Whenever you can avoid plastic packaging, you should. We package ours in a glass bottle with a glass jar with a metal lid. And we do that on purpose. We don't use the pump bottle anymore. We used to, and people were like, get your hands all messy. And I'm like, yes, but no cancer. Isn't that great? So we don't use the pump bottle anymore. We use a jar, and it's has a smaller footprint for your go bag, your beach bag, but it is just so much better for you. So when you are buying products, please just avoid plastic. And I know how hard that is, right? Everything's in plastic. But the more that we deliberately do this, um, the more likely it is that companies start using better packaging, right? So, if you already have some sunscreen and you want to check it out, I highly recommend going to the Environmental Working Group database. They have one just on sunscreen. And there is a link here on this page. And you can compare, you can look up your brand. They usually have them all by brand. But you can also look up individualized ingredients. If you're like, this one looks suspicious, you can definitely look up different ingredients, and it'll tell you not only what it is, but what it does and why it's in that formula. Um, but yes, no plastic. Check out any, particular products that you already have. We make one if you're interested, but also, um, do what the Victorians did before sunscreen. Like, get a big old hat, get an umbrella or a parasol. Wear SPF clothing because you can use it season after season. It's very cost effective. And then you have to use less sunscreen, right? On your face and your hands or whatever. Um, Definitely invest in some good SPF. The sun is only getting brighter. It's just how it's happening with the ozone layer and the age of the sun. The sun is getting brighter and we need more protection. So, bug spray. So, I just want to say that when I was growing up, mosquito and tick bites were annoying and gross, but they weren't dangerous, right? Like they just were an inconvenience and they were gross. But now we've got all kinds of diseases that these parasites carry, right? It's not just an itchy bump that bleeds when you scratch it. It could be West Nile, it could be Lyme disease. And a lot of these that you're looking at here on the list, people think of them as tropical diseases, but I will tell you that they have come stateside. We have documented cases of these things, which means the parasites are carrying some of these things, and we just want to avoid them. So, the best way, of course, is to set it up so that they don't find you compelling in any way, right? They're attracted to the smell of blood. And if you can mask your smell of blood, they won't be interested in you. So the first thing that you can do is use a bug spray that masks the scent of blood. And some scents and herbs are better than others. So I use a combination in my bug spray, which is called Bug Off. Um, I use a combination of herbalism and aromatherapy in my bug spray. And some of those ingredients have been lab tested. Lemon eucalyptus, for example, is more effective than DEET in lab tests. There's a terrible video on YouTube that makes my skin crawl where they're testing it and they stick arms into like a lucite, an acrylic cube, of mosquitoes, and they test DEET and they test nothing, and then they test lemon eucalyptus, and you would be surprised if you're into creepy crawlies. Maybe you want to watch that video, but lemon eucalyptus tests more effective than DEET. And also its recent replacement. So if you look at like the aerosol spray, bug sprays that you can get at the big box stores, often it'll say DEET free now, but that's because they're using picaridin. But that's also not a really great chemical to be putting on your body and potentially hailing aerosolized drops of. Um, Move. There we go. So yeah, so DEET and picaridin, excuse me, are banned in the EU. Um, um, there are lots of studies that point to the negative health side effects of DEET, and they've started doing these on picaridin. I find it fascinating that we're willing to like put something on the market without long-term testing. Um, Especially when we have natural alternatives that totally work. So often, especially in the United States, the way it works is companies do their own testing. They submit those results to the FDA, but the FDA does not have the budget nor the will to follow up and do its own testing to make sure that it is replicated, the results are replicated the way that you do in science, right? So it's not peer reviewed in any way. And basically in the United States, until there are health problems that are constantly reported, does the FDA intervene and maybe do a recall, which means people get hurt. It's terrible. But that's how it works in our country. Companies do their own testing, not peer reviewed, not replicated, not enforced. But yes, so trying a natural bug spray, and there are lots of them out there. Mine is the only one that I know of that combines both herbalism and aromatherapy. A lot of them are just, um, dispersant medium with aromatherapy, but I like the liquid, the main part of the liquid, to be also effective against insects. So that is how I make mine. Um, so yeah, so you mask the scent of your blood with a bug spray. You can also, if you're going to be spending time out on your patio or in your garden, you can plant all kinds of plants that these bugs find stinky around the periphery of the areas that you're going to be hanging out in. Geranium, most people find pleasant. And so you can, get a whole bunch of containers of geranium. I was just at the farmer's market last week, and there were tons from the greenhouse people. You could just get big baskets of geranium and all kinds of pretty flowers. And you could just put it right on the periphery of your patio. Rue is another one. And you can get seeds. I will put in the chat at the end of the presentation a place where you can get all kinds of seeds that are uncommon, like rue, pretty cheaply, and it's here in Ohio. But also, you can change the way your blood actually smells, not just masking the scent of your blood, but you can change the way your blood smells by what you eat. You can up your vitamin B12 before you, are going to be spending lots of time outdoors. My favorite way to up my B12 isn't a supplement, because a lot of those supplements are synthetic and you want a food-based thing so that your body ingests it. But I up my B12 by using nutritional yeast on my popcorn, and also broccoli. It's good on broccoli too. But nutritional yeast is so high in B vitamins, and it makes your blood smell bad to them. It's good for you, gives you lots of great energy to get out there and do stuff. But yeah, they don't like the smell of blood that has had a bunch of B vitamins. You can also try digestive bitters. That will also make your blood smell bitter to them. Digestive bitters is one of those remedies and formulas that I make that pretty much anyone who visits our website would benefit from. It tonifies the digestive system. Most Americans don't eat or drink enough bitter. We avoid bitter. We think of it as bad, and we crave sweet and processed. But bitter is something that we are supposed to regularly take. We have bitter receptors, not just on our tongues, but throughout the entire digestive tract, in your brain, in your lungs. And when you ingest bitter, it stimulates those receptors to optimize their function. So if you've got GERD or acid reflux or, common nausea perennially, digestive bitters is going to help all those different parts of your digestive tract. If you've got diabetes, it helps tonify the pancreas as well. Gallbladder issues, liver issues, all of it. Digestive bitters is the one thing that I make that anyone would benefit from taking, um, regardless of who they are and what they're going through. I highly recommend digestive bitters. I keep mine on the dining room table because you're supposed to take it 15 minutes before you eat. So you kind of prime the pump, right? You stimulate those bitter receptors so that optimum digestion happens. So that's another way of repelling insects naturally, and also benefiting your gut, right? Or benefiting your energy levels by taking more B12. Who knew you could just do some simple natural things, and the bugs will run away from you or fly away from you screaming. So let's talk about first aid because being outdoors, we're much more likely to get into a little scrape or cut or burn or poison plant. And so, I'm hoping that you're getting out there, you're going on hikes, going to the beach, doing all kinds of fun stuff. But it also could mean that you could trip and fall and scrape yourself. And so, uh, having natural remedies that will help heal wounds and fight infection topically are great. I make one called Boo Boo Balm. It's better than Neosporin because number one, Neosporin has contributed to antibiotic resistance, and a lot of times it's no longer effective. Number two, it's based in petroleum. Who wants to put petroleum in and on their body? No, thank you. And three, it's packaged in plastic. And again, plastic is bad. But burns also, like barbecues, campfires, much more likely to potentially burn yourself. So having a burn salve on hand is also good. You want to basically, as you're getting ready to live outdoors more, you're going to want to stock up on these things so that you have them when and if it happens, rather than going, oh, I've got a burn and now I need to go to the pharmacy because that's my only choice. It's here in town. So you stock up in advance. Our burn salve is called Baker's Balm because I originally started making it for commercial bakers that were constantly burning themselves. But yeah. And then poison plants, ivy, oak, sumac. You're going to want to stock up on some poison ivy remedies, whether that's a soap or a salve. Now, the salve that I make is called a Jewel of a Salve, and I like it because it not only treats when you get the rash, but you can also apply it like above your glove line if you're gardening and you know you're going to be ripping out some poison ivy, for example. You can apply it above the glove line so that the poison ivy doesn't the venom or whatever they call it, not on a plant, but you know what I mean. The nasty stuff that gives you the rash, you don't come in contact with it because A, you've got gloves, and then the little gap between your sleeves and your gloves has been covered by a salve that has the antidote to poison ivy, which, if you don't know, is jewelweed. If you're a plant nerd like me, and you live near a small body of water, a ravine, a creek, you're likely to find jewelweed there, impatiens, and it is nature's antidote to poison ivy. You need to use the goopy stuff inside the stalk. That's what you use. All right. The benefits of getting outdoors. Again, do not be dissuaded by all of my harm scenarios, right? I want you to get outdoors because it's really good for you. You get vitamin D. You're getting fresher air than being inside. Indoor air pollution is much higher than outdoor air pollution in this country because of all the yucky stuff that we bring into our house. But you will get less exposure to toxins. You may get more exposure to pollens. So think about that. Think about a natural allergy, hay fever type remedy. Haven makes one called allergies. It's a really effective formula. I take it every day. You can hear kind of me clearing my throat. It's one of those days where I've got more congestion from hay fever because everything outside is erupting. And so you gotta roll with it. But studies show that being outside in nature where you can't hear human activity, traffic, construction, voices, lessens anxiety and depression. And I know that living with, a serious condition or disease like cancer can inevitably cause anxiety and depression. So getting outside when you can, it doesn't have to be like strenuous hikes. You could get somewhere, rest on a bench, hang out for a while, listen to bird song. They also show that studies show that listening to bird song also helps reduce stress and cortisol levels in the body. So yeah, get outside in nature. My two favorites are in the woods, where you can hear lots of birds. My second favorite is by big bodies of water, right? Water is just so relaxing. Being by the water is great. I especially like the ocean, but here in Ohio, we have Lake Erie, we have some other smaller bodies of water, or you could travel, you know. But yes, getting into nature is most recommended by me. So I'm Lily Cunning. I'm the formulator for Haven Herbs. I also have a small word of mouth clinical practice at lilycunning.com, which if you click on my little picture, it will take you there. But if you click on Haven Herbs, it will take you there. Um, Haven Herbs is more about ready-made things. You're good to go. Things that most people need. Lily Cunning is more about like you've got a chronic condition, it needs case management, and so I make you a custom formula. Um, and we do consulting about lifestyle stuff. So that is me. I live in Tiffin, Ohio, which is north of Columbus. I used to live in Columbus. I used to have a store in Columbus called Boline, which is no longer around. And we went online, so everybody can get it anywhere at Haven Herbs. So thank you so much for listening. I did try and make it so that we had a full 30 minutes of Q&A. I went through a lot of different kinds of materials, so I am more than happy to answer your questions.
Well, Lily, I'm going to start the questions off. I had heard that for the best absorption for vitamin D, you need to have magnesium. Is that the same for when you're safely out in the sun and getting vitamin D through sunlight?
Yes, although the magnesium you can take at any time. It doesn't have to be while you're outside, right? It doesn't have to be simultaneous ingestion. So as long as you are maintaining healthy magnesium levels, either through an oral supplement or magnesium lotion or magnesium oil, a lot of people do it that way because they get leg cramps at night, or maybe they have trouble getting to sleep, or they have restless legs. The magnesium lotion or magnesium oil can help with that. At the same time, it can up your magnesium levels to help you with nutritional absorption. And I will tell you, almost everyone is mineral deficient in this country. So, doing supplementation for minerals in particular is always a good practice. I have a multi mineral supplement that I take. Not just calcium and potassium, but also magnesium and chromium and selenium. Um, because it helps, right? And I will tell you, like, there are known reasons that we know of, like what magnesium does in the body, what calcium does, But I will tell you that we are learning new things all the time about these, nutrients, these nutraceuticals, that we didn't understand, just in my lifetime, what vitamin D does. The knowledge of what vitamin D does in the body has just exploded, right? It used to be that you just thought of it for energy levels and like brain functioning and things like that. And I will tell you, when I first moved to Central Ohio, when I first moved to Columbus, I had pretty bad vitamin D deficiency that first winter, and I didn't realize it because I had moved to Ohio from California, right? I didn't really have a problem getting any vitamin D when I lived in California, so I didn't think about it. And then, we hit this first winter and we went several months of like zero sun, the sky being just this sheet of gray, like no sun whatsoever. And so I went to the doctor because I thought I had mono. I was literally falling asleep in the middle of the day, sometimes in the middle of a conversation, like just my everything was like shut down. And so I went and I was like, oh my gosh, I've got something really bad. So they did a blood panel and she was like, oh, you're not just, deficient in vitamin D, you're malnourished and you need a prescription strength supplement to get some vitamin D in your system. And it took a while because it was such a strong quantity that I could only take it every other day. I couldn't take it every day. Um, and it took the rest of the winter to get back up to like decent energy levels. Because honestly, like, I had no idea how long I had been without sun. And I vowed that winter that I would never, ever live in Ohio and not start taking vitamin D preventatively in October. So I take vitamin D supplements October through March, and I've never had that problem ever again. But make sure that all your supplements are food based also. Um, Food based, food sourced supplements are the ones that your body will recognize as food and break down and use. But a lot of those synthetic supplements that people take, the really cheap ones at the CVS or whatever, they're synthetically produced, and your body's just like, I do not recognize this as food. And you're just throwing money down the toilet, quite literally. You just, get food based supplements. And if you don't know, if it doesn't say on the label, just pass it by. And I do want to say, if you go to the Lily Cunning website, on the footer of that website is a link that I provide as a public service to a service that I use called Full Script. And it is professional strength supplements, and I deeply discount them for my clients, for my students, for the community at large. If you click on that and then you search, if you're looking for a CalMag supplement or a vitamin D or whatever it is, you can find it there. And there are many different types and price points, different ways to take it, whether you want liquid or capsule or whatever. But you can also check all the boxes like food based, kosher, non GMO, packaged in glass, like all of these things. You can get there. So that was a long ramble, but yes, take magnesium.
So we do have a question in the chat. How do you take bitters?
Mm. So the way that I make my digestive bitters is it is a tincture, which is an herbalist word for a liquid extract that's part alcohol and part water or glycerin. So I make a tincture version and I make a vinegar based version because with bitters, the bitter constituents also extract well into apple cider vinegar. But I have both formulas. I actually prefer the alcohol formula. I think it tastes good, and you're not just getting bitter and sour. You're just getting the bitter. And it's comes in a bottle with a dropper, and you squeeze the bulb, and it goes about halfway up the vial, and that is a dose, the little vial, and you just squirt it right into your mouth. As I say, we have bitter receptors on the tongue, but also elsewhere. And so you'll start that stimulation in your mouth. Now, I will tell you, if you start taking bitters And this is a very common thing that happens. You go ahead and you take it, your first dose, and you're like, oh my God, it's so intense. Like it's just the worst taste ever. Keep doing it because I promise you, once your body is starting to get that thing that it's been missing, it will start craving it and you will start liking it. It has happened. I've watched clients do it over and over and over again. I've had to give them the pep talk to keep going. And then they're just like, oh, yeah, I got to get my bitters. Like, I like it. It's good. It makes me feel good. And I like the taste now. And I'm like, see, they're like, did you change that formula? I'm like, I did not. It tastes the same. You're different. So yeah, you take it orally, 15 minutes before meals. So, and you only really have to take it a couple times a day. So like not every time you eat. If you're like a grazer type person and you eat 6 times a day, don't worry about it. Just take it in the morning and take it in the evening, 15 minutes before starting to digest. Um, like I said, I keep it in the dining room and that way I don't forget. Like some people have all their supplements in the bathroom, in the medicine cabinet, or in a linen closet, or in the kitchen, in a cabinet. Um, that is a recipe for forgetting. Like you got to establish the habit with supplements so that you're doing it. And yeah, the more you take bitters, the better your digestion becomes. As I said, it replaces ingredients that we're supposed to be eating, but we're not. It is a food. And so you just keep it in your body and it keeps optimizing that digestion. And like I said, we've also found these bitter receptors in the brain and in the lungs. So if you are a person that has bad digestion and asthma or COPD or bad digestion and brain fog, bitters is probably your best friend. So I would definitely check it out. It is a tonic. Tonics are things that you take regularly to stay well, as opposed to a remedy that you take for a migraine or the flu, right? Things that help you get well from a compromised condition. So yeah, so take it as a tonic, take it at least twice a day, take it before meals, take it internally.
So the next question in the chat is, does raspberry seed oil serve as natural sunscreen?
I wouldn't count on it. There are plenty of instances of natural products like coconut oil that have a quantity of natural SPF. But here's the thing, you don't know how much. They're not going to test each and every batch and bottle that goes out. And natural products, by their very nature, vary from batch to batch. It's based on the soil, the sun, the water that year. Like we know it when we're tasting wine, right? They talk about the conditions that year made a really great wine, or, the wine was really terrible in that year, but by the year before. It's the same with any kind of natural product. Um, and so I wouldn't count on it. I say that my sunscreen is 30 SPF because I am quantifying the zinc oxide that is in the formula that we know to have SPF that won't get altered. But I also use coconut oil in my sunscreen as one of the oil, parts that go in the lotion. But I don't quantify that. We have no way of knowing how much SPF is in any given batch of oil. So I would use something else. I would use a zinc oxide based sunscreen or an SPF clothing or hat or something that you can, make sure you know. So I did want to tell you. So I'm not drinking coffee. I'm drinking this brew that they mail to me every month, and it is full of adaptogens like medicinal mushrooms and things, and collagen and like all this stuff. And so it's replaced my morning coffee, which if you had told me, I don't know, 10 years ago that I wouldn't be drinking coffee in the morning, I'd be like, okay. No, this stuff is great. It tastes good. They have different formulas and flavors and things. Um, and it gives me like a lot of things that I need. You know, as I'm getting older, my skin is getting thinner, right? Which I think that's the thing that's bumming me out the most about aging is the thinning of the skin. Because when I was a teenager, I worked in a nursing home and taking care of elderly people. And I remember just how thin their skin was, and I remember how it could easily rip. So I'm doing the collagen, and I'm, you know, moisturizing like crazy. And it's definitely held me in a holding pattern because for a while it just seemed like it was getting thinner and thinner and thinner. And I was like, no. So I had to do something. So yeah, I do this. It's just an example of like a very simple, healthy substitution that you can make in your life. It doesn't compromise the quality of my life at all. Honestly, I still go out and in the afternoon sometimes get coffee, or like I meet people at a cafe for a meeting and I definitely order coffee. It's not like I don't drink coffee, but it's not the everyday, you know, wake up stuff. This is the everyday wake up stuff now. And it's sustainable energy. You know, it doesn't have the crash of caffeine, which I like. But there are so many different ways that y'all can uh, do simple swaps, you know, and just get used to that simple swap and then move on to the next one. When I do the natural medicine cabinet, uh, workshop for cancer support community. Maybe we're doing it this fall. I can't remember. Um, you know, I mentioned specific things, and then I'm just like, you know, if you're curious about this product that you've always used, but you've never really thought about it because this is just what you use, do some research, figure out, okay, NSAIDs, right? Like having ibuprofen in your medicine cabinet or acetaminophen, which is Tylenol. Um, you know, in other countries, acetaminophen isn't allowed anymore. It's that toxic. But like we just have it. We have it in our houses, and we use it when we're feeling bad. So thinking about ways that you can swap out something, trying new things gradually. It doesn't have to be like this huge thousands of dollar investment to replace everything all at once. You do simple swaps. Liquid shampoos, they're in plastic, always. And they always have sodium lauryl sulfate in them to make them foam and lather. What can you use in place of your liquid shampoo? Anybody have any ideas? I personally use a bar. I have a bar that I use and I just lather it up and then I, you know, use the brush on my scalp and then I rinse it out. Um, Nobody's told me that my hair looks terrible, so I think it's okay. Um, but I don't spend like a fortune on these liquid cream rinses, they call them conditioners now. When I grew up, they were calling them cream rinse. But you know, conditioners and shampoos packaged in plastic. No, thank you. I'm not going to bring it in. I'm not going to be responsible because, you know, now that I know how bad it is, I feel responsible. If I've sort of brought this thing into my house, I've adopted it, and now it's my burden, you know. I don't know. I have not been able to not feel that way. Maybe it's a good thing. But yeah, I use bar soaps. And I use bar soaps often that are shampoo bars. They are richer. They have a little bit different kinds of oils in them than soaps, but you can also use it on your body, like vice versa. And they last longer, I have to say. They definitely are more economical, less plastic packaging, and better for you. Anyway, lifestyle swaps. Think about it.
Well, speaking of a swap, we have a question. What is the product substituting for coffee?
So I've tried many of them, and I encourage you to do the same. Um, I started out with one called Everyday Dose, and I don't get paid by any of these people, by the way. I'm just telling you. Everyday Dose has the collagen. It has, you know, L-theanine in it. It has medicinal mushrooms. I liked it, and it definitely got me. I was having a really brain foggy several months where I just felt like, oh, so tired, so brain foggy. It got me out of that, thinking clearly. And then I was like, well, you know what? It's good, but I bet there are some better flavored things out there. So then I tried another one called Mud Water. And that one didn't have any coffee in it at all. It had cacao mixed with mushrooms, and that was good too. And it like chai spices. I definitely like the spicy. That's good. I've tried. So this one is by Atlas Coffee Company. So it's a mail order coffee company that took the leap and did a non-coffee mushroom blend. And I really like the list of ingredients in it. That's the one I'm using now. But there's rasa, there's so many. If you Google mushroom coffee substitute. Four Sigmatic is another one. I've tried a lot of them. Some of them are cocoa substitutes, some of them are coffee substitutes. Some of them include coffee or caffeine in it, depending on what your flavor is. I just sent away for one by Rasa, which is a matcha rose blend. And I think that's going to be for like special occasions, right? Like not just my morning brew, but like when I feel like having a nighttime kind of thing. So I'm excited. Like there's a lot to explore. I would definitely take that dive.
The next question in the chat, does nutritional yeast have a flavor?
It sure does. And I love it. It's sort of a combination of cheesy and nutty. It's not dairy. Um, but yeah, it's kind of cheesy, nutty. Like I said, it goes perfect on popcorn and broccoli. And vegans often use nutritional yeast to like make their fake cheese or a cheese sauce. And there is one cheese substitute that I found that I liked. Because my kid is lactose intolerant. And even though he loves dairy, I'm always looking for dairy alternatives for him because he will eat and then not feel good. So I found a nacho cheese recipe that is really yummy, like a dip kind of nacho cheese that uses nutritional yeast that we make. Sometimes when we're making soft pretzels, we'll make the nacho cheese. Yeah, junk food.
The next question is, how do you get nutritional yeast to stick to popcorn?
So you're still gonna add, your butter, or depending on how you're making the popcorn. So I make popcorn the old-fashioned way, where I have a pot on the stove with some oil. It's like a tablespoon of oil for the whole pot. It's not a lot of oil. And so I do it that way, and then I melt butter, and I drizzle it on there, and the nutritional yeast will stick to it. But also sometimes I overdo it on the nutritional yeast, so there's um, like a little well of nutritional yeast at the bottom of my bowl, and so I will swipe my popcorn through it and eat it because it's really yummy. Yeah,
Well, we
does
still
that
have about 10 minutes or so. Does anybody else have any questions? You're welcome to unmute and ask Lily or put them in the chat.
absolutely. What is our topic next month, Darlene?
It is the holistic, let me get the official title. Next month is Holistic Cancer Recovery.
Oh, excellent. Yes. Yeah, I tend to do that one in the summer, because there's a lot of winter topics that seem to be more on theme. But like, yeah, holistic cancer recovery next month will be good. It will talk about ways for you to deal with unpleasant symptoms, ways for you to, clear out your lymph once your radiation and chemo are done. Um, so many ways to use herbs and lifestyle changes to recover. Because recovery from the treatment, as well as, surgery and the cancer itself, is its own journey. And I will also cover um, emotional support because it's a thing. It's real. Like your feelings about cancer, they're legit. Like helping yourself with emotional stability and support is nothing to be ashamed of. It's interesting. I have a friend who confided in me that they have to take medicine in order to stay functional because they have a mental disorder, right? And a condition. And they went off their meds, and everyone noticed, right? Because they thought that they were doing fine and that they didn't have to take their meds anymore. But once they went off their meds, their life kind of fell apart. So we were having this talk, and I said to them, look, there is no reason to feel embarrassed about needing to take medication, right? Um, if you were diabetic and needed insulin, would you be embarrassed? Like, this is something that your body needs, at least right now, if not, ongoing. But it's a condition that you can support, right? Like, you can definitely get better. And I know you're embarrassed about how your life fell apart in this last month, but you can totally prevent it, right? The facts are you do great like this, you don't do great like this. So why not be like this? Um, and it was an interesting talk, and she, I think she had never thought of it that way. And I want to make sure that everybody here knows that if you need emotional support, or mood support or mental support, um, that is also physiological. There is nothing shameful about needing to take medication, or needing a treatment. So that's my little PSA for today.
We have another question in the chat, Lily. With bitter tonic, is alcohol base an issue, especially considering someone who doesn't process alcohol well?
Yes. So, because I wanted it to be available to everyone, whether they had a religious prohibition or they were an alcoholic and didn't want to take a tincture, or, genetically, some people just they flush, it makes them feel terrible, they don't like alcohol. Um, I make it in two different formulas. So there is the tincture formula, which is sort of the classic, and then I also make one in apple cider vinegar, and it extracts all the bitter compounds so that our Muslim friends can also have bitters, right? So it is there for you to choose. Absolutely. Well, it was very nice being here. I hope that y'all got what you needed out of today's session. I will be sending along the slide deck to Darlene for her to send on to you. Um, I do these every month, um, on different topics every month. And I will put in a PSA. If there is a topic that you want me to cover that you haven't seen me cover, please let Darlene know. She will either let you know when I'm covering it or she will pass that suggestion on to me. I'm always happy to create a different class topic. Absolutely.
Well, Lily, thank you so much. We appreciate you giving us your time and your expertise. I have to say, I really enjoy these workshops, and I'm always taking notes and always learning new things, even though I've been working with you for about 5 years now.
I know.
Really,
It's so weird that it's been 5 years.
yeah. But I'm glad everybody was able to join us, and I hope everybody is safe this summer, and we will see you next month.
Bye,
Thank
everybody. Have a great
thank-
day.
thank you. You too.